They called her cursed. A burden, a girl whose beauty brought nothing but trouble. So when her uncle found a crippled beggar willing to marry her without asking questions, he smiled like he had finally found the perfect punishment. The whole village laughed. They said her life was finished. They said this was the end of her story. But what nobody knew was that the man they mocked had been watching them for a very long time. And before the sun set on that wedding day, the same people who insulted her would stand speechless, wondering how the girl they threw away had suddenly become the woman they could never reach. This is the story of Adaeze, a girl who was treated like dust, until God turned her pain into honor. In a small village outside Enugu, there lived a young woman named Adaeze. She was 20 years old, quiet, respectful, hardworking, and far too beautiful for the piece of the house she lived in. After her parents died, Adaeze was taken in by Uncle Jide. At first, people praised them. But inside that house, Adaeze was not family. She was help. She woke before dawn, fetched water, swept, cooked, washed, and still, it was never enough. If the food is bad, it's your fault. If the roof leaks, it's your fault. Auntie Bose would say, and Adaeze would always reply softly, "Yes, Ma," not because she agreed, but because silence was safer than pain. Uncle Jide's daughters, Mira and Saad, hated her because no matter how hard they tried, attention always found Adaeze. One afternoon, a trader visited the house. As Adaeze walked past with a tray, he stopped. "Who is that girl?" "That one?" Auntie Bo snapped. "She's just a house girl." The man shook his head. "She looks more like a queen." That one sentence destroyed the peace of that house. That night, Adaeze was punished for being seen. Weeks later, a stranger entered the village. He walked with a limp, wore torn clothes, and carried a wooden staff. People laughed at him, but he said nothing until he stopped, right in front of Uncle Jide's compound. Adaeze saw him first. "Good afternoon," she said gently. He looked at her, surprised. "Good afternoon." His voice was not what she expected. Soft, calm, educated. She brought him water. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Most people only throw stones." Adaeze gave a faint smile. Not everyone is the same. The next day, he returned. But this time, he spoke privately with Uncle Jide. That evening, Adaeze was called inside. "We have found a husband for you." A husband. Mira laughed loudly. "You're a limping beggar." Adaeze froze. "The wedding is next week." Her heart dropped. No questions. No choice. That night, she cried in silence. Not because he was poor, but because once again, her life did not belong to her. But something about the man was wrong. He didn't beg loudly. He didn't smell of drink. Read books. One night, under the moonlight, Adaeze asked him, "Why did you agree to marry me?" He looked at her calmly. "I promise you one thing. I will never treat you the way they do." She whispered, "Who are you?" He smiled slightly. "Someone who has seen how people behave when they think others have nothing." Then he said, "Sleep, if you can, Adaeze. Your story is changing." The wedding morning came. No music, no joy, no celebration. Just shame. "Wear this," Auntie Bo said, handing her a torn gown. The pastor rushed the ceremony. "Do you take Adaeze as your wife?" "I do. And you?" The room went silent. Adaeze looked around, at faces that never loved her. Then at the only man who saw her as human, and she whispered, "I do." They stepped outside. Adaeze expected a broken hut. Instead, she saw it, a black SUV. Clean, expensive, waiting. The driver bowed. "Good afternoon, sir." Adaeze froze. Sir, she turned. The man was no longer limping. He stood tall strong. Different. Get in, Adaeze. Inside the car, her voice trembled. You're not a beggar. No. My name is Toba Okafor. Her heart stopped. The name was known everywhere. Your uncle cheated my father. Years ago, I came back to see the truth. And me. His voice softened. You were the only one who treated me with dignity. Tears filled her eyes. That's why you mattered. The car turned back to the village. This time, everyone came out. Tobe stepped out in a suit. Adaeze stood beside him, no longer discarded, but chosen. You called me cursed, she said calmly. You said I had no value. Silence filled the air. But today, I learned something. People can bury you and still not stop God from raising you. Then she placed money on the table. I give, not because you deserve it, but because I refuse to become like you. That night, Adaeze sat in peace. For the first time, you are rare, Tobe told her. Months passed. She learned. She grew. She built, and soon, she opened a center for women like her. 1 year later, Adaeze stood before a crowd and said, never let where people put you. Decide your worth. Stay kind, stay strong, stay alive. One day, your life will speak for itself. So remember this. Do not mock the struggling. Do not judge by appearances. Because sometimes, the one they throw away is the one God is preparing to honor. If this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And tell me, what would you do if you were Adaeze?